Shut up and sit down.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Third Shift episode 236. I, of course, am your host, the greatest man who's ever lived, your funky leader. It's me, it's Matt. And with me, as always, it's the co-host with the mo-host, the Beastmaster of Third Shift, it's the buddy Eric. And we're going to start off the episode like we always do, Eric. How was your week this week?
It's been so busy. So busy. We're in this house. We're painting all the walls. We're redecorating. We're redoing everything. We're prepping to redo the floors. Man, just a busy. All over the place. It's really nice, though. It's starting to look real good. You know how it is. Maybe you don't if you don't own a house and can't, screw with it or whatever. But when you're shape-shifting your house around, doing all that good stuff, repainting, flooring, it all starts coming together. You're like, yeah, this is awesome. This feels good. I feel like I'm in a brand new house now. Woohoo! You get that sort of feeling.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have that feeling because I'm not in a house I can redo all the stuff with. But you get that feeling even when you redo a room.
Mm-hmm.
Or give it a super good clean for the first time in a long time and then move a couple things around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is my new setup.
Yep.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel good right now. The problem is the pain and suffering that comes with it when you're getting old like we are. When you're trying to paint extended periods of times and lifting,
Way up there.
You pinch nerves in your shoulders. You're getting muscle strain going in your chest. It's all sorts of shenanigans. And then of course, you're like, well, what stretches can I do to get rid of the center muscles in your chest pain? You're gonna die. You're about to have a heart attack. No,
thanks, WebMD.
No, that's not.
You have pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have algia. Blah 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 blah. I mean, no, that's all I need is exercises. I need stretches to help with the chest. No, you're going to die. Go see a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind, internet. So the one thing the internet's useless for is any sort of medical anything. Mm-hmm. Because according to the internet, you're just going to die. That's all there is. You're just dead.
Which you would think this would be the thing that the internet is used for. Because there are even doctors who go, oh man, what is this crazy thing? Tick, 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 tick. Shouldn't that just be available for everybody, in a realistic fashion? Come on.
Yeah, and not this crazy crap that pops up. It's ridiculous. It's silly. And even the sites where they're like, well, it's probably just a strained muscle in your chest. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm going to click this one. But it could be death.
Uh-huh.
Just, never mind. I'll just relax until it's over. It'll all be over.
We're both getting to be old men, so, I've had 4 or 5 things over the past year that have just been weird. And every time I Google, yeah, you're probably dying, hemorrhagic brain disease, kidney cancer. I'm like, no, there's no way. And then, sure enough, 5 days later, it just went away. I don't know what it was, but it's gone. Well, it sure isn't hemorrhagic brain disease. Come on.
No, because that wouldn't be going away. Your kidney failure, it wouldn't be going away.
No.
I promise you that. So it's ridiculous. Don't listen to the internet if you need any sort of medical advice. It's a bad news place. Don't do it. Do yourself a favor. I'm sure you've all heard that before, but just saying.
It's got to reinforce that every now and then. Because I feel really weird. What am I going to do? First thing you do is Google it. Instead of just rub it a little and then go lay down. No, you got to Google while you're laying down.
Just don't. Take a couple Tylenol, drink some water, lay down, relax. You'll be fine. And if you're not, and you do end up in a bad scenario, it ain't my fault. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do.
The internet wasn't going to save you. I mean,
and the internet wasn't going to help.
You would have gone, this is one of those bogus results. What a bunch of nonsense.
It's just like me and Matt already have done a million times. So, with that being said, Game World, it's been near Autonoma all the time. I've been basically just smashing that game. And I'm in a real funky place now with it. It did a whole complete backflip on me. Mm-hmm. Now everything is excruciatingly difficult. It's crazy. Folks are just having problems left and right. The world is not good. And I'm like, what happened? I went from this cheerful, fun place where I was smoking robots like they were just little toasty tittles on the old, the old end of the stick, getting turned into delicious marshmallows. And now they're trying to murder me, and I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
See, I don't even remember any hard boss fights. Obviously, we've talked about my memory this coming and going because it's been 2 years now, and I played a ton of stuff since. But I don't remember, I remember some bosses being hard, but never just like enemies. Like I never ran
hang
into
on,
stuff and.
When I say difficult, I mean as in they do tons of damage. I don't mean they're actually deadly because I have an infinite amount of healing recovery potions. So it doesn't really matter, but it's to the point now where I get hit one time by a mid-sized robot. You know, those mid-sized dudes with the axes usually.
Yeah.
And I get about 70 to 80% damage gone in one hit.
I don't remember that. Maybe I dodged a ton because I don't ever remember hardly ever even using my healing items after that first intro bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not saying you're playing it wrong.
Maybe you're Johnny of Greats. I don't know. But I just fought a boss with A2.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, I guess, a little bit. But anybody who plays the game, you'll realize real fast that there's something going on with A2. Come on. It's not. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. And there's that one giant boss where you're kind of like, it's floating around the sky. It's like a giant centipede.
Mm-hmm.
That boss, when it hits you, it takes around 60 to 70% damage in one hit. Now, it didn't pose a threat to me because, like I said, I have healing recoveries and I would, start smoking the single balls when they come down or whatever. But anytime that laser hit you, it was about 60 to 7% damage in one hit. So, like you said, if you are awesome and you know everything that's going on around you, you can always dodge. But they would all come right up on me. Mm-hmm. So I'd have like 8 of those things in the beginning of the fight, obviously.
Right.
Around me at once, so I couldn't dodge every single laser at once. I just wasn't able to do it.
Well, now I really want to know, even though I have no frame of reference for what mine was, what's your chip build like? Because once I got enough chips in, I was literally invincible.
Mine is enemy deaths, gets me health back. Mm-hmm. And then I've got the one where I do damage, but it's only at the 2 rate because the 3 rate is such a huge chunk. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go in and I got the offensive damage. I've got the general HP boost. I have the auto AoE attack upon striking. And then 1 or 2 other things. But I guess if I were to just go in and just do an all-out straight-up heal build, then I could probably end up being immortal. But I do have quite a few offensive, mid-level, offensive abilities in there as well.
Because I think for me, I did defense and then the auto heals. And so I was just...
and I went offense with some of the auto heals.
Yeah.
So that, if I went and tweaked it and just went full heal, I'd probably be just fine.
Yeah, because I remember there were some tough boss fights, but nothing ever... I never had to, open the menu and use a healing item. I mean, maybe it just
and that's the thing
anyway, but it's
I'm never going to die, but yeah, I do have to not constantly, but I do have to go in and I got to heal. I got to, oh my God. Whereas in everything up to this moment, I never touched a healing item, which is why it's also not a big deal because I think I have 140 large recoveries, 80 freaking mid-level ones. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, I'm like, God, it's such a shift from what I've been playing all the way up to this point. I'm like, what's going on, man? Why can't 2B just, do...
And I don't mean to make this like a weird what you playing spinoff where I grill you about the game, but I just don't remember that at all. So trying to figure out why it is that way for you when it wasn't for me, I think that's what it is. So
now I'm 9S again, so I just hack and kill everything.
You don't have to do anything. You just dodge, hack,
dodge, hack. So it doesn't matter anymore, but for that section, it was crazy bananas. So what a great game. Just telling you, that's what I've been mainly playing, having a great time with it. I played a little bit of Destiny 2, been in there just kind of doing some of the dailies, getting a few strikes, and I'm kind of right now trying to fill out, I think I said it last week too, I want to commit a little bit more to this and get going with it, or whether I'm just going to kind of back out, disappear again until whatever the next expansion or something cool and new is. Mostly will depend on my family members if they want to play and hang out and have fun with me, or if they're just doing their own thing and ignore me, and then I'll be like, okay, whatever. And then lastly, Outriders. I played it a little bit here and there. I try not to play it too much because me and Matt are supposed to play it and have some good times. Yeah. But I have hopped in a few times over last week and just repeated a few of the missions and been like, all right, super cool. But my PlayStation 5 is broken. And for the first 45 minutes to an hour, the LAN cable keeps disconnecting and connecting. And so it irritates the hell out of me because this is an online-only game. So this game throws you all the way out. And you have to come back in from fresh every time it does it. So about the third time it does it to me, I typically just stop playing Outriders. So I've gotten smart though and try to like wait till like midway through the afternoon or whenever I'm playing, then I jump in, because typically by then whatever error is happening in my PlayStation is over. It's like the first 30 to 45 minutes when I turn the system on. It's so irritating.
So you're admitting to me right now on the air that what you did was you found a magical monkey's paw, and you wished for, let's see, you wished for a house. This was a long time ago. You wished for the house, and then it floods all the time. You wish for like new cars, and then they break all the time. You got to repair, take it in for warranty or just physical stuff. And then you held on to it. You held on to this bastard, and you went, PlayStation 5. I want to be able to get a PlayStation 5 from Best Buy when they go on sale. And then Monkey Finger went, and you got your PS5, but late connection issues. You got problems.
I got a lemon. What are the odds? Their odds are actually pretty great, because it's me, so it doesn't surprise me.
And we've seen our buddy Jim Ferranda have all kinds of problems with his PS5 too.
Yeah, he's having problems too.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's what I've been up to. That's the games I've been playing. That's my real life stuff. What about you, Mr. Matt? What in the world have you been up to this week?
I can't even think of any real life stuff, because this weird 10-hour, 4-day stuff is just draining me, man. And we talked about it off air just before here. It gets to be Thursday, the last day, and this is my Friday. I can't wait. And I wake up, and my eyes are bleary, and they're heavy, and they're burning. And I wander into work, and I just go, And even as I'm looking at the countdown, and I got to leave early today, I'm just looking at the countdown going, And I walk out and I just go, But then I come home and I play Animal Crossing New Horizons, and everything's at least a little bit better. I'm still tired as hell, but everything's bright and cheerful, and everything's wonderful. Everybody's happy to see me, and I get to do my weird projects. The casino is now, I think, halfway finished. I just got to figure out I got to put in a couple more jukebox slot machines. I got to put in a little table for the little roulette wheel that I made. And then I got a new villager because one moved out. I found a cool jock villager who had the greatest catchphrase ever, and it's flashback to when I was playing Thronebreaker, because his catchphrase is hoo hoo ha, just like the dwarves in Thronebreaker. Hoo hoo ha, hoo hoo ha. And he's a jock villager, so I'm going to move him right between the houses of my other two, and then build a big giant gym for them just right next to it. So that's a whole new project that I have in my head, but that spawns another project, because the house he did move into that I'm just going to move between the two, it had a little art gallery. So now I can blow that up, expand it, put the statues all over the place, get a nice woodsy area, kind of like a little art grove kind of thing going. I can't wait to do even more crazy projects in Animal Crossing, the game that never stops giving. I love it. But a game that's about to stop giving is Quantum Break, because I've done almost literally everything you can do in that game. The one thing I have left to do, the one achievement I have left to earn, is beating the last boss on hard mode. I was working on it right before you texted me to say, hey, 10, 15 minutes, I'll be doing the podcast. And I went, I could probably do it, but I don't want to be that guy and hear my Discord going on my phone. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, man, give me 2 more minutes, guy. Give me 5 more minutes. Oh, boy.
Just disappear for a few minutes. You can do it. Sadly and funnily enough, I would have been able to, because there's so much stuff going on. I'd be like, oh, okay.
Damn it. But that game has been a blast. I'm glad that I played it. I don't know that the memories will carry with me forever, but it's all the themes that I love. Like I talked about on What You Play in Third Shift that we did as a team this week. It's just a great game, and I enjoy it, and it's free on Games Pass, which is something we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode too. So glad I got a chance to play it and finish it and fully complete it here soon this week. So that's what you did this week. That's what I did this week. What did some cool companies do in releasing games world this week, Mr. Eric?
Well, let me tell you. Okay, the Switch, it's been a busy little bumblebee, all right? It released another cool little game. I don't know if it's Gnosia. I think it's Gnosia, but it might be Gnosia. I don't know. English is a difficult language.
I'm going to guess this is like Gnosia. That would be my guess.
Okay, well, it's one of those things. And I'm sure I should know it because, watching the reviews and checking it out and watching some gameplay and all that good stuff. But
No, I'm going to jump in it there because literally every game that has a weird name, all the reviews I watch IGN's review, they say one way. I watch GameSpot's review. They say it a completely different way. I watch any major outlet. They all pronounce stuff completely differently. I'm like, you are the people who can talk to the developers. You can pick up the phone and they'll go, ooh, IGN.
How do you
and you
pronounce
go, how do
this?
you pronounce this damn game? They'll, oh, it's Gnosia. Okay, cool, thanks. Like you and me, sure, we can get away with not knowing how to pronounce it. Come on, IGN, GameSpot,
Come on, big dogs.
Game Informer,
Come on.
The Escapist.
Do your work.
You jerks.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's right. We're not responsible for anything. Wonderful. I love it. So anyways, this beautiful little game came out on the Switch. It's already been out for quite some time on PC, but the Switch just got its hands on it March 4th. It was developed by Petit de Pato and published by Petit de Pato and Active Gaming Media and Mebius. So this game kind of got me going because I was like, whoa, what is this? Like an Among Us or whatever, you know? And there's some comparisons to it, but when I was looking at it a little more deeply, I was like, well, not really, because this game is more of an actual story. It's an actual video game. It's Among Us is just about having friends and having some social fun and figuring out who the bad guy is among you. Well, guess what? You do that in this game. You do find out who the bad guy is amongst you on this spaceship. Well, that's also similar to, you know, Among Us. You know, so I see where some of the comparisons are, but it's not quite that. And this, every single time you play through, it's a different like experience, a different setup, a different Gnosia or whatever, however you want to pronounce it. It's a bad alien, basically, who wants to eat everybody else and win the day. And obviously you, the player, and all the other crew members don't want that to happen. So you got to go through and you get to be different players in this spaceship who have their own different skill sets. So you can go in, you can look, and you say, oh, this person's really good. Logic, charm, you know, all sorts of different abilities. And you get to play as them, and then they'll be given options when you talk to people, because the whole thing here is to figure out who the Gnosia is. So you're going to go around the ship talking to the different players on board the ship, and you're going to try to figure out, suss out, as they say, who the baddie is. And through the different conversations and through your character's abilities, you'll get different options, speech options, things like that. And so you'll get different tracks of what people are telling you, what they're not saying, what they are saying. And then you can try to, after I think it's 6 rounds, you have to be like, okay, based off these conversations, I've deducted that this person is the Gnosia. They get put into cold sleep. They're out. And then there's other characters, like I think it's the doctor, who can be like, well, that person who's put to sleep, it was actually an alien. And you did a great job. Well, now you know you got one, and so if your thing has 2 or 3, well, you know now there's only 2 left, etc. And if you didn't, then you know you're screwing yourself over, and you're probably all going to be dead, and it's bad news bears. What's really cool about this one, too, is while you're over there talking to the characters and trying to suss out who's who and what's going on, if you pick the wrong lines and stuff, they can start to suspect you. And the Gnosia, obviously, will be like, well, I don't want this person. They're on to me. So you have to be careful in what you're saying. So like if you really think it's one of the characters and you go to them and you're like, I know it's you. Well, they can vote against you. So now they can vote against you. And of course the others can vote against you if you start to push too hard or act crazy or do something weird, and you can die before the match is even over. What's really cool though is like the scenario will keep playing out. And so you'll get to see like who says what and who's doing what. Because like I said, instead of this being just like a quick hit, it is an actual story. So by playing these different rounds over and over and over, you can kind of put together who these characters are, because there's humans, there's aliens of different planets and species and stuff going on, who they are, where they come from, what's going on. And of course in the different rounds, the Gnosia or whatever is a different person. So you'll get a nice flavor of who's what and who's going where. And the artwork's really cool. And, you know, it's got that kind of anime look to it with the characters. And they're all kind of like ridiculous and out there, and their personalities are like super extreme in all sorts of ways. It looks like a lot of fun. It seems like a lot of fun. I definitely would check this out if I could get my hands on it for, you know, just a few bucks, to be honest. It's one of those things I'd probably do like 2 or 3 times, have a great time with, and probably jump out. But hey, if you're into those whole little like fun story, little who done it, who did it, and you know, sussing out the suspect, maybe this title's for you. I recommend you check it out.
This one might be for me because I was browsing around on the Switch store like I do sometimes in my I don't know what game to play kind of moods or kind of modes. And I did find this, and I was looking at it, and the art and the visual novel style of it involved with the
murder mystery kind of thing. Yeah.
Those are all the kind of things that I love. So I was like, well, that's going on the wish list because I don't know if I can get it right now. And then I just found out today another game called Raging Loop that's kind of like that also involves a time loop. That's not my release, but I figured I'd mention it here because I was watching the trailer. I'm like, God, I'm going to add that to the wish list. And then it was like, we got to find out who the imposters are. And I went, oh, this is in that too? Oh my God. So if you like Gnosia, check out Raging Loop as well. Might share some themes. But the game that I'm going to talk about today, I can't talk about too much because it's literally in the mail on its way to me. It's the game that I won. It's Chained, which released for the Nintendo Switch today, the 11th of March, developed and published by Studio Digital Caffeine. This is a somewhat story-based puzzle game all about an ex-software engineer who's working on security software for banks or, internet systems. He gets fired from his job because an AI is replacing him. And so the basics of the story are he's trying to kind of break through that AI that replaced him, and he's like breaking into banks and skipping off a little bit of money for himself, kind of like Office Space, He's writing the program and getting fractions of a cent and doing all this stuff. And the hacking is presented as a little puzzle game. Like you get a chain of numbers and random numbers like 9384, and you got to rearrange them so that each number is one off from the numbers that it's next to. So it's kind of, a little brain teaser, little brain puzzler. And as you go, you get a certain number of moves to complete a chain. And each chain you get, you move this one up, that one down, this one up, that one down. It clears, you get a few moves back, and then you get a little bit of money. And then you move on to the next chain in this hack that you're doing. But it's not just you doing it, because eventually these companies start using Scout, and he's working against you in real time as you're trying to solve the puzzle. He's freezing numbers. He's adjusting numbers up and down himself. He's making it so your controls are reversed, so you go over instead of going down. As you're hitting down, it's going up. I think there's another move he can do where he covers up the numbers so you can't even see what it is. So it's kind of cool how as you go through the game and you get better at the puzzles and unlock abilities and upgrades for your character to make him better at hacking, so too does Scout get upgraded throughout the story. And as you get better, he gets better. So it kind of ramps up the difficulty, but gives you more tools to handle his tools that he's coming at you with. There's also a little story here. I believe the one review I saw, it only went like 3.5 to 4 hours. So a quick little indie game here. The art is all pixel art, really cool looking. It's kind of, I feel like the characters kind of look like that Beat Cop styles, but then they have, the portraits with the text that comes up. And it's not just text. This game is fully voice acted, which I was surprised to hear for a little tiny indie game like this. And from what I've heard, like literally the 15 seconds of voice acting I've heard between the two reviews I saw, voice acting is actually pretty good too. So if you like numbers, if you like puzzle games, if you like indie games on the cheap, check out Chained. I don't even have to buy it. I won it. It's coming to me. I've got like autograph from the guy who made it. Oh, I'm a winner. I'm the greatest. Unchained the whole lock. I got all the money just raining down on my face right now.
Let me check my text and see if you sent me how to get to that cool little area where I can win me some really cool games too.
I sent it like 4 times. Your phone must be broken again, dude. It's broken.
It's broken? Oh, okay. That's fine. It probably is.
Phone's busted again. I'm sorry, man.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Well, try a couple more times. Maybe it'll get through so I can, win me some cool games. Yeah. But not today, everybody. Not today. But you know what it is today? Borderlands keys and all those cool little shift codes or whatever they're called that Matt likes. I don't even know what they are anymore because I haven't claimed one in 100 years.
See, I was going to segue out and say, maybe one of those two games will be somebody's Game of the Year, just like Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, in which case we got some golden keys in that game. Oh, fantastic game. Hit up the Twitter, the Red Forum, see Instagram, hit up your preferred shipcore provider, get yourself some free loot in a game that I've never played because the first Borderlands just didn't hit it for me.
I'll tell you, if you ever get your hands on it, it's quite fun. It's a nice throwback. I purchased it and played a whole bunch of it. I didn't finish it, but it's definitely more somber. It's just a lot calmer, more chill experience than Borderlands 2 and 3 were.
I feel like if I got my hands on it for a super cheap price and we played it, we could still have a bunch of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
But just
for sure.
like the first time I played it, it was solo, and I enjoyed it a lot, and then kind of fell off. I feel like I would do that the same unless we played together as a Borderlands night type of thing.
So if you ever get your hands on it, we can play it together, and that would be so much more fun.
Yeah.
Because obviously I played it with James back in the day.
Right.
And we had a great time with it, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, solo, it is definitely more a quiet, somber experience. There's not a whole ton of outlandish, crazy crap constantly badgering and just in your eyeballs. So
just like even the abilities are a lot more toned down. Like I could play Borderlands 2 as Axton and have a lot of fun because his stuff was over the top. And Roland, I was like, turret went out. All right, I'm going to run around and shoot. And
it's still about gunplay. Yep.
Yeah, it didn't hook me that much. But hey, if it hooked you, get the shift codes for the golden keys in that great game. Get yourself some free loot. Have a fun time.
And of course, I got to tell you guys, I got some sad news. Matt's got all sorts of stuff here, hotfixes and things. But before we do any of that, I guess I'll tell you that Krieg has been cast in the Borderlands movie. And I laugh because it's somebody I have no clue who they are. It's Florian Montano. And if I butchered your last name, I'm sorry. Matt says it's Drago in Creed 2 or something. I don't even know what Creed is. So, whatever. It's a mystery person from a thing. He's a guy, and he's big.
You know what Creed is, you idiot.
I know. It's a bit. It's a bit. Of course I know what Creed is.
It's not even funny. It's not even funny. It was so bad. And I will say, he's a big dude. He's a big monster dude. And from the article that I read, everyone's saying, oh man, he blew us away in the audition. Just like they've said for pretty much every character that they've announced so far. So hopefully he's blown them away in a really cool way. And it's going to be good in here. Because, I mean, if you're going to cast Krieg, you're going to cast a big old muscled up crazy man. So hopefully Florian can pull it through. Now, the one thing that was in the article that I read and retweeted that made me very sad. I mean, I knew, but maybe I should be happy about this. It said production begins in mid-April. So obviously all the stuff we've talked about with the Borderlands movie was still forever away. And I mean, we knew that because now they're just announcing the cast. So of course it was still forever away, but there wasn't like a date that's saying, hey, they haven't even started on anything yet. It's still literally a month away at this point for them even starting, which makes me sad, but it's closer than it could be, I guess.
Basically, the movie's a couple years out, for sure. And it's neat that they're kind of giving us all these cool little casting things and what's going on, and I appreciate it, but it's definitely I want to just put this on the back burner and come back at the end of next year and then be like, hey, where are we at? What's going on?
I want to see that teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm just not a fan of, like, being in the nitty-gritty, following something day to day, because then it feels like it drags on for an eternity, and then I'm super aggravated and sad, and then my opinion becomes skewed because, now I'm all aggravated at the fact that I've just been paying attention to this one thing for 500 years. It's crazy. I don't want to do it. So I'm like, well, this is cool. Once I find out who the cast is, after that, I'll just turn my little eyeballs like this. And if you don't know what I'm doing, I'm just closing them like the monkey does, and then all of a sudden it'll be out. And I'll go, woohoo, I'm excited.
Now, to be fair, once all the cast is announced and they actually are working on it, they're not going to talk about it at all.
Exactly.
We'll never see anything about it until that teaser trailer comes out.
And of course, as you said, it begins in April, so we got time before that gets going. And then with the whole COVID thing, who knows what that means, doesn't mean. It's been wild this last year with movies, and like they're finished, but they don't want to release them. But some got stalled because they didn't want to film. And
I feel like this is one nobody's gonna be like, "Oh man, we better hold off on that Borderlands movie." I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying this isn't like the biggest blockbuster that needs to make $11 billion for it to be a success. I'm guessing. So I feel like once this one's done, it can actually come out, and maybe by that time, 2022, 2023. We'll actually be allowed to be in a movie theater and watching it and eating big old vats of popcorn and just pouring soda down our bellies. Oh, yeah.
Celebration Cinema already let you go in, all right? You can already go into a theater and watch no movies because there's not a movie out, but you can go in there.
I don't like
going there. You can watch something.
I don't like that place.
And I know you don't want to go to a theater. You know what? It's fine. And you know what? Because Texas couldn't go anywhere because the snow was destroying their homes, screwing their lives up, messing everything up. Unfortunately, Borderlands 3's director's cut also got delayed, Matt. And today they said, hey, listen, we really did try to keep the date, but we couldn't. So we have to go ahead and delay it a little bit longer. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I am glad that in the announcement they said, hey, everything's cool now. Everybody's safe. Everything's normal. We're just getting back on track with it. So that's a good thing. So it's been delayed, but we won't have to wait too long to get all that juicy goodness. April 8th. It's only like 3 weeks away. It's going to be here before you know it. But what's here right now are Borderlands 3 hotfixes. They've dropped up 2 legendaries into some loot pools, a rocket launcher that I never get.
Yeah, Rhina, I have no idea. I don't, never seen that in my life. So I don't know what it does, why it's cool, anything, to be honest with you.
The name just reminds me of the RYNO from Ratchet and Clank, the rip you a new one. So maybe it's a takeoff on that, but I never get legendary drops, and I don't use rocket launchers, so I'm sorry I can't say anything about that. And then the grenade mod has been added to Aurelia's loot pool, and I gotta tell you, all right, side tangent, but I read Aurelia's loot pool, and I went, what? Somebody get confused about Borderlands, the pre-sequel? And then the very next second, my brain went, dude, she was a boss fight. And I went, yeah, but Mr. Beef just ate her, and I just shot her a lot, and she wasn't hard to beat. And that's why I didn't remember. It's been long enough now. Maybe you and I need to start the new characters, which we did a little bit already.
We did.
And actually play through the story, though, to see that again for the first time in a long-ass time.
I have no issues with that. We can play us some Borderlands. In fact, we were enjoying the heck out of it for the few weeks we went back to it before we got sidetracked with God only knows what we were playing, but something.
But we did start with the DLCs because the story still didn't feel fresh at that point. I think it would feel fresh right now. And I would remember that there wasn't really a boss fight without having to think about it.
True as that. So, like you said, they added the Firestorm Grenade mod to hers. They also went ahead and fixed the Siren's Remnant skill. It was doing more damage. There was all sorts of glitches you could do with sliding and whatnot. Stuff on the PC side, for the most part, that I don't understand. They saw that. They became aware of it because the builds were built around it, and they're fixing it all. So you will no longer be able to abuse the Siren's Remnant skill any longer. But the one thing they did that has me super happy is they went ahead and raised the Roizen's Thorns damage again. And I'm so happy. This weapon was like one of the first legendaries I got when we played originally. And I thought it was so awesome, so cool. It was ripping heads, tearing them up. And I felt powerful and alive and having fun. And then, of course, after Endgame came, it was not the gun to have. It was not even remotely near the best. So it had to go away. And then they buffed it again at some point midway through the road. And I thought, this is it. It's back. Yay. So I equipped it and I started playing with it. And it still was not even remotely close to some of the other weapons I'd had. So I had to put it away again. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it, Matt. Maybe I can go in when we do our playthrough, get Roizen's Thorns, and I'm going to be having the greatest time because it is an actual awesome endgame legendary weapon. And, maybe my dream's going to come true.
Hey, maybe so. I looked at this list of weapons and I went, the OPQ system isn't on here, so I don't use any of these legendaries. I can't wait. It's right around the corner. The cartel event has to be coming up soon. Wasn't that an April event? Or April-y May, because it was kind of like around Easter times.
I know it was spring, yeah.
It was definitely a springtime event, so I can't wait to see that. And then, you know what? No, I know what's going to happen. I can wait to see it, because they'll be like, hey, it's back, but we're going to nerf that OPQ system, because some people used it all the way through, even into this event, so we're going to turn all the damage off on it. That's what's going to happen to me.
No, here's what's going to actually happen besides that. It's the fact that, okay, the director's cut's coming out April 8th now. Guess what comes out April 1st? Outriders. All right, so we're going to be knee-deep in playing Outriders. Director's Cut's going to hit, and then we're going to have to share time doing Director's Cut, doing those Ava's murder mystery kind of things and side quests, and playing Outriders. And then the Cartel event's going to come out, so we're going to be having to do Cartel event, Outriders, Ava's mystery stuff, and we're not going to have time for any of it because we're supposed to be doing all of it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And all the single-player games we're supposed to be playing, we're not going to play those either.
Yeah, supposed to be beating Nier Automata. God only
Persona
knows
5 Strikers will just be
Persona
sitting there.
5 Strikers, it's like going down the bar, disappearing off my time frame. It's too hard. It's too hard.
But one thing that's it's easy for us to talk about because it's happened today, is the Bethesda news and the Xbox Game Pass news. Xbox acquired Bethesda. Everyone knew about it, but now it's officially official and on the Games Pass. They just are dropping either today or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, 20 Bethesda games? Boom, on the Games Pass. Check it out. Have a fun time. What are you shaking your head about? This is great stuff.
No, it's not. It's not great stuff. It's not. Because here's the problem, Matt. So for that $1.99, I got 3 months Game Pass. You know, wow, what a lucky deal. What me. And it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Because now you want it.
Because now I want it.
Uh-huh.
And they knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the Game Pass. So I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. Because the Game Pass is an extremely good value.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think they've already announced that they lose money on this thing. And they said that the future is the Game Pass, but they lose money on it. They tried to hike the price up just recently. Everyone went ape crap. And so they lowered it right back down and said, okay, never mind. We're sorry. We won't do it. But they've announced that they're not making money. So that means that the people involved, the developers that are putting their games on here, aren't making money either, because there's no money to be had because it's such a good deal. So that part's confusing me. How is this the future of Xbox when there's not money involved? So are they ramping up for something else? I don't know. It's crazy. That's one question I have.
Well, you know what you do is you tier the system up even more. If you want the brand new hottest triplest A game, you're going to get Games Pass Ultimate Plus, which is $25 a month or this or that or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to jump in before we get all negative Nancy and
I don't want to go negative Nancy because I want to ultimately be positive. This is great. It's a great service. We're going that way. I just don't understand because it is so great, man. Mm-hmm. It's so great. I got it. I popped on. I'm just going to play the medium, have a good time, and then I'm going to bounce out. That's what I came for. And then I'm like, there's games everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's games everywhere, man. All sorts of games. Yeah. Tales of Vesperia, Code Vein, Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age Remastered Edition. That's just to name a couple. There's a bajillion of them out there that I could play, want to play, thought about playing at some point.
I've played at least 6 games on it in the 3 months that I've had it, and they've all been fantastic games that I've had a blast with. Either long games I could play forever, or games that, I just missed out on, busted into, had my fun with it, and then since there was no, I didn't have to pay $5 for them, there was no hassle of just, I'll delete it and move on to the next one. I think it's a fantastic service. I'm loving it. And I'm just going to say right now, I think Bethesda and Games Pass are the perfect complement to each other because Bethesda makes enormous games, generally. Bethesda Softworks, the actual game company themselves. Fallout, Skyrims, all the Elder Scrolls stuff.
Wolfensteins.
Yeah, and if you get Skyrim, you can... I literally know people who got Skyrim at launch and still play it. Mm-hmm. So if you got it through Games Pass, you're always going to keep your Games Pass, so you can always keep your Skyrim, so you can always play your Skyrim. So instead of buying Skyrim on Steam for $5... you're essentially paying $15 a month to access it, which this sounds like it's going negative, Nancy, but I mean it in a good way. It's perfect for Microsoft. If you have these enormous experiences, Elder Scrolls Online, that's dropping tomorrow in here too. So $15 to play an MMO, that's what everybody does. Now you can play it, quote fingers, for free because you were paying for Xbox Game Pass anyway. Mm-hmm. Now this is just lumped into the deal, but you won't ever cancel it because you're hooked on your MMO and it's just going to go and go and go. I love Games Pass as it is right now because of the wealth of games. But then if you look at it from the business side, these are two companies that needed to connect because their products ensure that you will continue paying your subscription the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I think they bought them. I think they bought them because they knew they had that track record and they had that plethora of games that could keep you coming back no matter what to play. Because, like I said, they have Fallouts, they got Dooms, Wolfensteins, and like you said, the freaking Elder Scrolls Online. That's in and of itself a humongous great deal, and you can always come back and play those. It feels like they want Xbox Game Pass to be what Xbox is. And I'm down with that. I'm totally excited about that. Like, in the next generation, you're going to see Xbox Gamecast up on your smart TV as one of the little buttons like, Netflix and everything else you can check. And you just click on it, push in your name and your password or whatever, and you're on Game Pass playing your games. And I'm like, that is super awesome. But how do you maintain that? And I think it's what you said. You're gonna have to get into like a tiered system, whereas you pay the basic, and you'll be able to play like all the cool old titles, and as they get older and older, they'll kind of bounce back. So like Doom Eternal, for example, when it's fresh, you won't be able to touch it. But as time goes on, a year later, 2 years later, whatever it is, it bounces into a standard tier zone, and you're going to be able to play Doom Eternal with all the other games that came out in that kind of time frame or quadrant, etc., etc. And if you want to play the premium price, which then does churn them a profit, does get them money, that's when you'll be able to play the newest and the hottest that game Xbox Game Pass is getting you, which they'll have in theory because they got so many developers under their belt now. They're actually starting to compete with PlayStation's first parties, and Bethesda, for God's sakes, is now on board, and they just had their whole meeting, and the wording is still cryptic. Even today's wording was still kind of hazy, but once again, it does really feel like they're saying that for the most part, going forward, our games will be for Xbox Game Pass, whether that be PC or Series S. So besides the ones they've already contractually said are coming to PlayStation 5, guess what? You want to play anything from Bethesda going forward, you're going to go over to Xbox. And that's huge to me. And then they got Remedy, whom I love, you love. Well, now I have to have Xbox Game Pass, otherwise I'm not playing another Control, another Alan Wake, etc. They're really building up here, and they're actually making it super worth your while to have. And I just don't understand how that's possible. It's like it's too good to be true. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's something wrong here. Something's going to happen.
The weird part for me is you say, well, if you want to play a Bethesda game, you got to play it on Xbox. And sure, Skyrim and stuff was available on the PlayStation systems. But if you wanted to play it for real, you played it on PC anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you played it on your Xbox, then you could actually download mods for it. If you wanted to play it for real on a console, you had to play it on Xbox anyway. So this, again, feels like going hand in hand. I understand it because it does sound weird, but at the same time, those are the two places that anybody played it for serious play of those games anyway. I don't know. Well, I'm not a big Bethesda player, so I appreciate this because I have Games Pass, so now I don't have to ever think about, oh man, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out in 3 months. Am I going to spend $70 on that? And I'm going to spend $15.99 on it and play it and have my fun with it and not worry about it. So this is great for me, so I think it's great. I'm not going to worry about any consequences or too good to be trues because it's true for me.
But that's what I mean. It's like, it sounds great, but it's not. Something's going to happen. It can't keep up. Like I said, they've already said we don't make money.
Pull up the article that says we make no money on the service that we offer you and send it to me so I can read it.
Okay, well, I'll have to research that and get it to you. But basically, there was a statement made that they don't actually make money.
This sounds like a thing that you half read, dude. I'm just saying, because you don't do something that doesn't make money.
But that's what I mean is there's got to be something in it. There's got to be something happening that they're pushing towards.
You don't charge something if it doesn't do something for you.
That's what I mean. There's got to be something else here. But I'm not kidding you. It was said that they're not making money on the current charge rates. And so it's like, well, and then hence why they suspected why they tried to do the upcharge, which didn't go over well. Then they reverted it all back down. So I'm like, well, where's it going? What's this all building to? And is this future? Are we actually pushing towards where like all the games are going to be just through a pass? You get your PlayStation Pass or PlayStation Now, and then your Xbox Game Pass.
That's how the last generation was supposed to go, remember?
That's
Xbox
what we all
was going to be
about.
Online only, subscription only, and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone pooped on it, and they said, okay, well, we're not going to do that.
Is PlayStation going to follow suit? Or are we still going to sit here for another generation and have one come out with a whole new console and a whole new shtick, while the other's like, yeah, we're all done. Just, buy your Xbox Game Pass. And if that happens, what's going to happen? Because I can tell you this, I'd rather just pay the $15.99 a month and get all these cool games and services and etc. instead of going and buying a brand new console and screwing around. That is, even though PlayStation's powerful and has some really cool games that Xbox doesn't have yet, But as I've played Xbox Game Pass and as I'm going through its, it's all of its cool stuff and games it's got, I'm like, Eric, you could just get by with playing this forever and not buying consoles anymore. It would save you money. It would be really good for you in the long run. You'd miss out on a couple, your personas and stuff like that, but this is, like I said, it feels too good. It feels too good, man. I don't know why this is happening or how or what the hell's going on. It doesn't seem right.
Well, as with every streaming service that you're signed up for nowadays, the problem is that you can never cancel it because you don't own any of those games unless you buy them with a discount. Like I've done a couple of them, play them, and then I'll buy them because it's 30% cheaper if you have the Games Pass, just like PlayStation Plus does. But as soon as you say, I'm not gonna, or the service says, we're not gonna carry this game anymore, now you can never touch it again. That's the downside of it. That's the only problem is if you do that, you give them $15.99 a month forever. That's the only downside of it. Or, when they go to Xbox Series Next or whatever, and then they do up the prices because now it's a whole new console, a whole new tier, so nobody's going to say no to that. Then you'll just follow suit along forever.
I mean, I get it all, but do you think this is what's happening? Do you think this is the future? Do you think, honestly, that this Game Pass thing is going to last and it's going to replace just buying your game, playing it on a system, and then moving on to the next game, et cetera, et cetera? Or, or is Xbox placing a gamble here that is it going to pay off? Or are they going to screw themselves in the long run when they try to get out of making systems and just go with this? It's going to be kind of like the secondary console thing, As
much as I do like the Games Pass services like this, I don't think you'll ever get away from physical media because I will never get away from it. You'll never be able to say, oh, we just don't ever make discs anymore. We don't make games. Then I'm going to go to the other company and still buy games from them because then I own it. It's physically mine. If the internet's down, I can play this game. If your service goes down, I can still put Persona 5 in and play it forever.
And that's for now, though. I mean, we're seeing more and more these days where these games that don't technically need to even be online are online anyway, and then you can't play them if your internet goes out, even though it's a single-player adventure. So, I see what you're saying, and I agree that for the most part, still, any kind of singular game is still able to be put in a disc, play it no matter what, but I do see more and more this online-only crap happening, and I just feel like it is shifting that way. And I'm happy, but I'm also sad because it's supposed to get cheaper, and we've talked about that, where it's like, hey, when things go online finally and the discs are all gone and all that crap's gone, and you can pay a cheaper price for your games. And I'm like, that's cool, but like you said, we've seen what happens when, it's not doing well enough, we're just going to shut down.
You'll never pay a cheaper price for games because games have to only get bigger, just like movies. You can't just have a regular movie in the theaters anymore. It has to be a big, giant, billion-dollar blockbuster. Well, AAA games will never stop being AAA games, so you're always going to have to pay more for them. The Last of Us 3 will never be on PlayStation Now first day. There's no way. There will always be some big thing you have to fork over the big money for. I don't know. This is a weird, big, rambling discussion we're doing. We're on all kinds of topics here.
But the thing is you're also wrong, because Xbox Game Pass is going to have Halo Infinite for free. The biggest title, period, of all time is like Halo. One of the biggest entities known. Everybody knows frickin' Master Chief. It's going to be free. Hey, you have Xbox Game Pass, you get to play the biggest game we have, period, for free. So when you say Last of Us 3 could never, ever possibly be free on a service that you're paying for.
That's different, though, because nobody plays Halo for the story. Nobody cares about Master Chief. You play Halo forever in multiplayer. So not only do you pay your Xbox Game Pass, you can never stop paying for it because you're going to play Halo Infinite for an infinite amount of time. It's just like putting Elder Scrolls Online on there. That's the same thing. Last of Us is different. I think the one had some multiplayer, but now nobody cares. You'll never have a big budget single-player experience just drop on, maybe on Games Pass, I don't know. But I don't see every single company jumping on this train. Somebody's going to go, nah, dude, you're giving us $79.99, $89.99. There's no way. So
Game Pass will eventually die?
No. I'm
It's
saying
not going to survive, or it's
no.
going to stay B tier. It's PvP shit to keep you coming up with their reoccurring services. That any of the AAA games, single player,
I'm saying
will
the
always be
big
charged.
AAA single player games will never just go to that. You're not going to have one or the other. Games Pass will still stick around forever, but you can't just have everything go that way. There's no way. When you need to make $1 billion on this game for it to be a success, EA will never just be like, oh yeah, sure, just play it. It's fine. There's no way.
But that's the thing. Guess what? They've acquired Bethesda. Bethesda makes huge, big-time single-player games. So the next Fallout, you don't think is going to be on the Game Pass for free? You think they're going to finagle something?
But they own it to get you to play, to get you, the other person who is like, I don't want to play that Games Pass, now I have to sign up for it there. But it doesn't matter because they're owned by Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, but Microsoft's going to buy EA soon, too. And then Ubisoft. And then PlayStation's going to retaliate and buy a couple big dogs, too. So, you see what I mean? You see where this is going? It's not over yet. I think that these two companies, PlayStation and Microsoft, are getting into this weird place where they're going to have to start buying all the publishers and developers to compete with one another. Because like you said, at this rate, any of the remaining big dogs, they're going to end up just going over to PlayStation because they're going to want their $79.99 for their game. Microsoft is going to need them to not do that, so they're going to spend $6 billion like they did with Bethesda, and they're going to buy them. And then PlayStation is going to be forced to do the same, otherwise they're going to lose out on all the big dogs, and now you just got this big bidding war for all these huge developers, publishers, etc. It's good. I don't know, man. I think stuff's going whack job over here. That's why, like I said, it's too good to be true. It feels great, but Microsoft kind of shot the first shot. Bethesda now is in their pocket. Huge games. How does PlayStation react? You know what I mean? Do they just hope that Microsoft kind of spent their money, blew their load, as they say, and they're going to be okay? Because, like you said, EA and the others will still stick with them because they want their $70, retail. Or will Microsoft go, you thought that's all we got? And then they go spend another $6 billion and buy another big one? Ubisoft? Imagine if they bought Ubisoft. It's over. It is over at that point. All they got to do is go buy one more big dog like that. And this whole dynamic shifts. And you got to rethink everything you're talking about because now all these huge first-player games are going to be on the Xbox Game Pass. And so I'm just wondering how the future's going to go. That's kind of where I was at this whole time. Like, what's happening? And is this going to shift anything hardcore? Or is this going to kind of be like the one gunshot and everybody just backs off and it kind of just mellows out? And
I feel like I'm not the person to have this conversation with because I don't really play a lot of Bethesda games and I don't play a lot of Ubisoft games. So when you say, those are the two biggest dogs you could get and you got to get them and wow, it's the biggest thing in the world, I go, meh.
Well, that's true because you don't pay attention yet to the big AAAs for the most part. You're
specifically those two. Like, those are two game publishing arms, game studios. Sure, I play the games that they publish a lot. Like, when the news was breaking, I'm like, oh, cool, they bought Bethesda. Doesn't affect me at all because I'm not a big Fallout or this or that kind of guy.
Dang it, Matt. Dang it. You can't see the picture because you don't care about the whole. Well, there you have it. I tried, everybody. Matt, though, he's more chill. He's just down in the little weeds playing stuff from Chain Gang and Studio Digital Caffeine and having a good time. But I don't know. I think there's something brewing in the big stage with all the big players. And I don't know. I'm just interested to see how it pans out. But time will tell. And like I said, Bethesda was a big one. And I don't see Sony being able to just sit back and do absolutely nothing. They've got to do something to retaliate on that. Otherwise, Microsoft's open just to do it one more time. And if you don't think Microsoft has the money to buy another big-ass player like that, I'll just laugh you right out of here. Because
everybody knows that. There's literally no human that's going to argue that with you. Who is going to argue that with you? Nobody.
You know how stupid people are?
Well, I was going to name drop a few people, but I think Sony is a weird one, too, because Sony's not just American AAA stuff. Sony's a Japanese company. So Sony, if they just have to do their own stuff, they're just going to do their own stuff.
No, they do. That's the thing, is Sony Japan lost the war. Headquarters is now in the United States. There was a huge war for United States, Europe, and Japan. Both Europe and Japan
I'm just gonna play
lost.
my Switch. I'm just gonna play indie games because this is all stupid. Giant corporations are doing big giant corporation things. Well, whoopity doo.
I love it. Oh man, that's great. It's so nice to see someone who's still just in the weeds, having fun with video games, and not paying attention to what's actually happening in the big world out there anymore.
That's the only thing that matters, though. Honestly,
yeah.
Do you still have fun with video games?
You
still have fun. It doesn't matter what Microsoft or Sony do. Is our games still coming out? Can I still get them? I can get them. Okay, cool. I did it. I had fun. Bam.
So you know what? At the end of the day, don't care. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy your video games. Have fun. Who cares? Who cares? If you got to buy another service, buy another service. Get it done. Enjoy the games you like.
If that works for you, it's working for both of us right now. Well, you are going to fall off after $1.99, but
that's right. Unfortunately, I don't want to, but yeah.
Well, why not? Why not just re-up then?
Because then I couldn't get any other games this year.
But you don't need it. You got the Games Pass. You could play a million. You could play a billion games, dude.
I got to get Battlefield so I can play with the family. I'm sure there's a game or two me and you were supposed to be interested in, but I don't remember at this particular moment. And I know it's roundabout, and you weren't actually the greatest person to yap to about it because you're in a different world, but I wanted to have that conversation anyway because obviously there's nobody else I talk to about video games ever, period. So, by golly, we did it.
So what do you think about that out there in podcast listener land? Which of the million topics that we touched on in this discussion do you have strong feelings about? Let us know via the email thirdshiftme@gmail.com, on the Twitter machine @thirdshifttome, and find us on Facebook under Third Shift.
And Matt, of course, says million topics, but it all goes into one thing. It was all one big purpose. It's just there's a lot of facets to it. But obviously we don't have time to dissect it all. So I'm sorry. You just got to get in there and boom. Here's the whole thing. Eat it. Do you not want to eat it? Doesn't matter. But while you're eating it or not eating it, you can head over to the old Patreon, throw in a buck or two, like what you hear, like what we're doing. Hey, anything and everything does help us out a whole bunch. Keeps the lights on, allows us to pay the old Podbeans and all the other services that make everything run. If you don't have any bucks, you can support us in other ways. You can do the mailbag questions. You can go give us the likes over on Facebook, the little hearts on the Twitters. You can go over to Twitch, subscribe over there, follow over there. Any way, shape, and form to engage with us is awesome, and we enjoy it and appreciate it very, very much. So please consider doing just that.
And please consider listening to the very next episode, which is going to be dropping on the 18th of March on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Podbean, on Spotify, and on YouTube. And as I always say, if you like what we're doing and you'd like to help us out, please give us a like, rating, review, a comment, a subscription, any kind of good thing on any one of those good services, because it does help us out. And hey, we really do appreciate it.
Just like we appreciate that 5-star review. Somebody's going to do it soon. I can feel it in my bones. Probably after this weekend. We're going to have such a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to happen. It's got to happen. The stars are going to align. 5 stars, in fact, are going to align. It's going to be fantastic, man. It's going to be good.
But until that time, there's nothing else to say but...
Shut up and sit down.